Hotep. Hotep means peace in the ancient Kemetic language, and Mwalimu means teacher in Kiswahili. It is the equivalent of the English word professor. My name is Mwalimu Melody Masheri Van Putten, and this is Mwalimu Dropping the Knowledge. Continuing with our theme of connections, we will journey to connect the dots of resistance as powerfully manifested in African woman-led resistant movements. In season 1, I highlighted a good number of warrior women under the banner African Women, Mother of Many Nations. In this episode, I want to bring them all together in what I'm calling Global African Female Fierceness, women-led resistance. These women were courageous, visionary, brave, and fearless. They saw their gender as a strength, powerful and uncompromising. Beginning in antiquity, Hatshepsut was the first woman to rule a major empire, Kemet, or ancient Egypt. Kemet means land of the blacks and was an African classical civilization that has been often mischaracterized as anything but black. But I digress. Hatshepsut reigned for 33 peaceful years, developing the economy with expanded trade routes and restoring important buildings and monuments. While she made no war with her neighbors, Hatshepsut had to fight the sexism of her day. Sound familiar? Hatshepsut took the decisive and controversial action to ensure that the men knew who was in charge. Demanding respect for her authority, Hatshepsut insisted on being addressed as Pharaoh, as opposed to queen, and even wore a false beard. Her magnificent temple still stands in Kemet today. African resistance to European enslavers and invasions began immediately with slavery and continued with colonization. When it came to armed resistance, fierce aptly describes the battles that black women took on. During the enslavement era, Queen Nzinga never accepted the Portuguese invasion of her country, known today as Angola. Born in 1583, Nzinga and her sisters were educated in the arts of war and conducted lifelong battles against the aims of the Portuguese to steal the land and enslave the people. A skilled negotiator and military strategist, Queen Nzinga worked with the invaders when she could and fought them when she could not. She was physically fit, able, and courageous, leading her troops into battle well into her 60s. Fighting until her death, she was buried with a bow above her head and arrows in her hand. Though her war against the Portuguese was not successful in her lifetime, her guerrilla warfare tactics continued long after her death and set the stage for achieving Angolan independence in 1975. Queen Nzinga is credited for birthing the first stirrings of African nationalism and determination to be free from the yoke of European conquest. The Kente queens of Kush and Ethiopia were famous for their military skill, bravery, tactical strategy, strength, and fearlessness. The word Kente refers to any woman of royalty who ruled the kingdom. Over a dozen Kente queens are recorded in history from 260 BCE until 1894 CE. The Kente queens are legendary and referenced in the Old Testament of the Christian Bible and have been depicted in statues and bas-relief paintings in queenly royal dress or in military armor ready for battle. One particularly famous Kente queen, Makeda, Queen of Sheba, is not only mentioned in the Bible, but also in the Quran. Nubian Queen Amanirenas ruled the kingdom of Kush from 40 BCE to 10 BCE. Like Kemet, Kush was part of the region known as Nubia. Today, the land of Kush is northern Sudan. Born around 55 BCE, Queen Amanirenas was one of Africa's fiercest Kente warrior queens, leading an army of 30,000 from the front lines. A military strategist, blind in one eye, she was brave and courageous. Queen Amanirenas devised a surprise attack to keep the invaders from attacking Kush after the Roman Emperor Augustus conquered Kemet in 30 BCE. But Augustus was hell-bent on conquering all of Nubia, and the war was vicious and bitter. The Romans destroyed Meroe, the capital of Kush, and sold the people into slavery. Queen Amanirenas would not concede and kept large swaths of Kush from being annexed. After 5 bloody years of a protracted war, Amanirenas proved to be a skilled negotiator, crafting a peace treaty that deleted the usual mandatory monetary duty to the conqueror. However, she exacted her own brand of revenge. During the conflict, Amanirenas captured a number of Kemetic statues, including statues of Emperor Augustus. She returned all but one. She had that statue decapitated and buried the head underneath a staircase of a Meroe temple. The Kushites walked over it in their daily visits, symbolically denigrating the Roman emperor. Called the Meroe head, it is now on display in the British Museum in London. In the Nile Valley, Queen Amanirenas is remembered as the Nubian queen who subdued the Romans. Or, poetically speaking, let us remember the power of women. Freedom fighter Thomas Sankara said, "Women hold up half the sky." Maybe, but no man was ever born on this earth that did not come through a woman's sacred portal. Human life enters the divine feminine doorway to live. The power of women has fed children, empowered men, and freed nations. Women are rarely individuals. They are always in service. Women often sacrifice their own dreams, talents, and goals in service to family and community, nurturing, protecting, growing. Womb man, a strength that bears all. Heart hurt, but still moving forward. Fighting the good fight from times ancient to modern. Let us remember the Kente queens and the Dahomey Amazons, Ya Asantewa, and the women of freedom movements, known and unknown or just forgotten. Say her name. The women of antiquity, the women of slavery's lash, the women protesting and encouraging, the women educating and building, the women who made you possible. Say her name. Breathe her spirit, emulate her good deeds. As we walk the old world fashioning it anew, may we call on the strength of female power. May we feel its compassion and passion. May we cultivate motherly love for humans and the earth. May we read, study, and acquire a keen intelligence for contemplating and solving the challenges of today. May we deeply understand vision in action. Let us live it, perpetuate it, and extend it in the minds, hearts, and spirits of our people. Then the wise, unfailing, forthright righteousness of our mothers' mothers and their mothers will observe us with pride and glory, celebrating the power of the feminine, and the ancestors in their femaleness will be pleased. Ashe. We'll be right back.